for this game. Hey, everybody, welcome to the TD Report. Step on in. Got Tony Kennedy over here. Dallas ain't dead yet. Jody Coleman, our Midwest guy. We're going to open up the show for all our Maryland fans. Shout out to Coach Loxley. They've got Maryland 4-1 on the gridiron, feeling good about themselves. Favored again this week after the big win last week against Michigan State. Jody, we can't be in the Midwest. The Big Ten is a Midwest league. We're over here on the East Coast. What do people in the Midwest think about what's going on at the University of Maryland? Because we've got a little something cooking over here that ain't cracked.
Hey, you know what? A lot of people are excited about Maryland because if we're going to compete with the SEC, you need teams like Maryland to emerge and win 9+ games a season. It'll be beautiful to see Maryland win 9+ games and be that other team behind Iowa, Wisconsin, those teams. So, talking to a lot of people here, it's Big Ten conversation at the barbershops and at the local bars. And Maryland's name is being thrown around a little bit. They say they got a lot of speed. I've seen them have a lot of speed. They can match anybody in the Big Ten with the speed. Only problem that Maryland is having in this region is the physicality. A lot of times people saying that Maryland is going to have to get a little bit tougher to be in the Big Ten because we got big offensive lines in the Big Ten and big defensive lines. So when Maryland can start getting those guys in the trenches, then they're going to be up there with the Iowas, the Wisconsins, the Michigan States who they just beat. So, yeah, it's the buzz with Maryland for sure.
Hey, Tony. Thank you, Jody. That was excellent. Tony, you've been saying this for years. What's going to happen for the University of Maryland is going to happen in the weight room. They're going to have to get bigger and stronger, whether you recruit or whether you develop. What do you think, Tony?
Well, I can kind of piggyback on what Jody said. Is Maryland has to get the beef up front. First, you gotta keep Ohio State and Penn State from coming in here grabbing your best offense and defensive linemen. I don't care about the skill position. You can find skill positions anyway. But to compete in the Big Ten is up front. Offense, defense, and line. You gotta keep your big home. If you don't keep your bigs home, you won't have an opportunity to beat Penn State, Michigan, or Ohio State. Once you start keeping them home, then you can have at least an opportunity to play with those guys. That just sums it up for Maryland with me. Right? I mean, I'm glad, Jody, thank you for giving us what's going on out there. But what's going on here, I don't think these people understand how big it can be. It takes level. Not just getting to a bowl, getting to a better bowl than what you went to last year. You know, you went to the Pinstripe Bowl 6 wins. Now you want to get to a medium road bowl with, 8 wins. Then you climb from that. So, that's what their goal should be. Not just say a bowl. No. Anybody get to a bowl at 5 wins. You want to get to a bigger and better bowl. Everybody pushes to get to a New Year's Eve or New Year's Day bowl.
If you're a University of Maryland and you somehow, I don't know how the numbers would work out, but you somehow finish and you're the runner-up in the Big Ten, the Big Ten representative is going to go to the Rose Bowl, right? Well, they would go to the championship series, but that would leave an open bowl in the Rose that they're contractually tied to. That's how University of Virginia got themselves into the Orange Bowl, even though they were the runner-up in the ACC. They had no business being in the Orange Bowl. But technically, the winner of the ACC was supposed to go to the Orange Bowl unless they're in the championship series, unless they're in the top 4. That top 4 was pushed into the national championship series and allowed the University of Virginia, who again had no business, but they got to play in the Orange Bowl. They got waxed by Florida. Doesn't matter. This is what we're hoping for, is get yourself in a position where you can be the runner-up in Big Ten. That's a couple of levels we're talking about. What do you say?
But yeah, the levels I'm talking about is that. I mean, best case scenario for Maryland, and don't quote me and call me unrealistic. The best case for Maryland right now is to beat both of the P's, Penn State and Purdue, and have Michigan and Ohio State win out and they play each other in a close game, and those two get in the playoffs. Like I told people last year, the loser of the Big Ten championship game is not automatically into the Rose Bowl if the team goes to the playoff.
Right.
It's the next highest ranked team. It's always been like that. I have to stress that to people. I ran a bowl, was on a bowl. I know how bowls do things. It's the next, and I know what they tied into. It's the next highest in the AP coaches poll, however they want to do it. They don't have to take the Big Ten loser of the championship game. If there's someone like this year, the loser of the Big Ten championship game on the West side will probably have 3-4 losses. They're not taking them to the Rose
You're not
Bowl.
going to the Rose with that. Yeah.
No. So who's ever on this side, Big Ten East, probably Penn State, more likely, they're going to get the Rose Bowl.
If you're a University of Maryland, jump in there, Jody. I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
Well,
what you got?
What I was looking at, I'm looking at Maryland's schedule, and they have a real strong potential of winning 9 games.
They should win 9.
I hate to overlook anyone, but I'll be covering the Maryland-Indiana game on the 15th. I will be there to report on Maryland and Indiana.
Excellent.
Just to throw that out there for the TD report. But only game that I see them having trouble with is in Ohio State. Well, Penn State on November 12th. They'll be going to the Penn State Stadium. That's a tough stadium to play with. And then you got Ohio State. Ohio State will be on the road. Ohio State be on the road in Maryland. And the last time I believe they was at home, Ohio State barely beat them by 1.
A couple years ago, Joey.
Yep. It was 50. I'm talking about when Ohio State played Maryland at home.
Yeah, that game was pretty good.
Yeah, it was 50.
That was an excellent game.
It was 53-52, I believe.
Yep. It's amazing that game was that long ago. It seems like, when we saw that game, we thought that we would see Maryland, continue up and up and up. But, after watching what happened with Ralph Region, the season that University of Maryland's having this year, at worst, I think it would be great to see Maryland go 10-2 this year. Now they would be beating Penn State, they would beat Purdue, the 2 Ps, and then win out and then lose to Ohio State. That puts them at 10-2. If they get to 10-2, 9-3, Coach Loxley can tuck that under his arm and walk into a lot more living rooms than he was been able to get into until that. I'm a coach that's won 9 games. I built this program up, and now we're at 9 wins. We want to possibly take a small step back next year. He's going to be developing quarterbacks because he's looking to the future. Okay, so your quarterback.
Don't let them fall short on that trap game against Indiana, because Indiana is 3-2 at this time, and that's going to be on the road. And you don't want Maryland to win this game against Purdue and then go lay an egg against Indiana.
That's and Coach Loxley, he's about as straight laced as they come on that. He's not going to let it. It won't be from coaching. They're not going to let these guys get too big. Tony, you're muted. Tony, you muted yourself. There you go. You see what I'm saying? Loxley has been at this. He's been at this too long to let them play at Purdue. If they play well, they beast out. He's not going to let those guys get their heads too big and think, hey, we're owed something. He's going to the thing I like about University of Maryland, the thing I've always liked about Maryland, Maryland's not a white collar team, okay? They're not a wine and cheese team. They're not a wine and cheese program. Whether it's college basketball, whether it's soccer, whatever. Maryland guys, they strap along and come to work, all right? They're not a bunch of prima donnas. So I think the way that you develop a culture and the way that they bring these players together with this coaching staff that's done such a great job, Tony and Jody, I'm really excited for the coach, man. This is great stuff. So, Tony, we've got Purdue coming in here for a 12 o'clock kick in College Park. I like daytime football, but I really wish they could have had this as a night game. I would have really enjoyed that.
The Big Ten TV dictated that. So You know, that noon game, but they are going up against Texas, Oklahoma,
Hmm.
which is the biggest game of the day.
But you know one of the what you talked about, Tony, is that one of the second place teams outside of Michigan, Ohio State potentially can go to Rose Bowl, and it could be Maryland. But don't overlook Illinois at 5-1, and they don't have to play Ohio State this year. They're five
Yep.
and one. They got a lot of favorable games against Northwestern, Purdue, Michigan State, Nebraska, Minnesota, and Iowa.
If that's the
Wow.
case,
Illinois could
Minnesota,
finish somewhere around
Il-
8-4.
Illinois got to win that side. Whoever wins that side, they got to be higher than the Penn State on this side to get the Rose Bowl if both Ohio State and Michigan goes to
Right.
the playoffs.
Hey Tony,
So
I don't understand this stuff, man. You have to put a chart up there for me, man, so I can understand this, man.
it's not that hard, man. When I had to do it every year to Tommy to try to explain to him that they take the next highest team. It ain't the Big Ten loser.
Right.
They take the next highest team based upon the AP or the coaches poll, whichever won the conference and whichever won the bowl game users actually, whichever won the Rose Bowl users, but they contractually to take that team.
Yeah, and that's where it reverts back to the old bowl system as far as teams that were trying, they were trying to do what we talk about on this show all the time, styles make fights. They're trying to get a team that they really want stylistically to play another team that might play a different style or have a similar strength and put them together. But also, as you mentioned, Tony, it's about the ranking and how well you travel.
Always about how well you travel, man. But
Yeah,
for somebody, Illinois has been to a Rose Bowl. All those teams we mentioned have been to a Rose Bowl during our lifetime, except for Maryland because they just got in the conference.
Yeah.
You
right.
know, when you're looking at bowl games, so that Maryland probably has the highest per capita out of any of the Big Ten teams when you're looking at it because of where we live and where the alumni are. Maryland in a Rose Bowl any of these years is going to make
Look,
a killing because they know that this area got money.
it's a once in
And
a lifetime thing for a lot of
yeah,
Maryland fans to be able to see their team go to a Rose Bowl. There's it would you would see airplanes flying up out of Washington National, out of Dulles, and out of BWI, man, every hour. We're full of Terps.
so let us get this straight. We're not saying Maryland is going to the Rose Bowl.
I'm just
We're
saying we're going
talking
to be great.
about best case scenario.
Yes.
But I don't care because I'm a visionary. I'm always looking at the bigger and better things. If you don't dream it, then it will never happen.
Mhm.
So
Right.
you always gotta look at things like that. I don't hear the negativity and
Hmm.
all that crap. You gotta look at what are we out here practicing for then?
Hmm.
We out here practicing just to be 6 wins? No. That's for
Nope.
any team. We're not out here practicing just to get 6 wins and we got a bowl. Man, get the hell out of my face.
Hmm.
No, you are here to win every game.
Yep. So let's segue out of college football real quick. Let's talk about our Thursday night game tonight. Indianapolis Colts and Denver Broncos. Two quarterbacks that switch locations. Matt Ryan went from Atlanta, longtime Atlanta quarterback, got them to a Super Bowl. They choked in the Super Bowl, but now he's with the Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts pushed out Carson Wentz, traded him to DC. Okay, then you've got the Denver Broncos coming in, bringing in Russell Wilson. He signed the mega deal, and the season just hasn't started out right. In fact, season hasn't started out right for Matt Ryan and the Indianapolis Colts. So, what do you think you're going to see tonight? Jody, you go first.
I'm looking at some numbers, and I'm looking at numbers, and the Indianapolis Colts average 13.3 points per game. But guess what? The Broncos average 14.3. So guess what we're not going to see today? We're not going to see a lot of touchdowns
Sounds like a
because
rock fight.
the Denver defense only give up 12 points a game. I listen. I'm looking at and you, Mike. I'm looking at a 17-13 Denver Bronco win, and I think one of their defenses is going to score a touchdown because these offenses are absolutely atrocious. The Denver Broncos are the last ranked team in red zone efficiency with 30% scoring, and you have an elite quarterback. Something is not right in Denver. You're averaging 14.3 points a game, and you have Russell Wilson, who everybody said that's all Denver was missing was a quarterback. I beg to differ at this point after 4 games going into game 5. So I like Denver to win it because Indianapolis is just without Jonathan Taylor today. I think they're gonna go with Hines at running back. They have the most turnovers in the league with 9. And Denver has a very, very, very good defense. Even though Randy Gregory is out, Bradley Chubb is playing like an all-pro. They missing Justice Simon. He's out. He is on IR. He should be back in about 2 or 3 weeks. But Denver is still putting up points defensively. They're not allowing a lot. I can see the Broncos winning 17-13.
Tony, is Russell Wilson healthy?
I think he's healthy, but what we got to get is Russell Wilson needs to be in that system, and they got to be enough time to start trusting each other. Guys, right now, we're at a quarter of the season. I still go 16 games, so, you can do the math. We're at a quarter of the season right now. No more excuses. We should be warmed up now, okay? We should be seeing the guys every day now. They're in their groove. So I think we were talking about that earlier. Jody and I was like, is it good defense or is it bad offense? I think that is really, really good defensive calling, situational, understanding what they see. And I think some of these quarterbacks haven't been in the system long enough to adjust yet. So, give us the Halloween. We'll be able to see. But right now, the biggest thing is not Russell Wilson. The biggest thing is Denver's defense. Because if you can hold teams to only 1 touchdown a game and a field goal a game, you're going to be in the game. In the end of the day, you're going to be in the game. So, but the big thing is they lost their running back. Denver lost one of their running backs.
Yes.
That's pretty big.
Well, Tony, here's the thing. Russell Wilson is a veteran quarterback. He's won a Super Bowl. He's been to the Super Bowl twice. I'm wondering why he doesn't look comfortable. You see what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying, like Jody said, something isn't right. He doesn't look comfortable out there. And one thing you could say about when he was with the Seahawks, even as a rookie, you couldn't speed him up. You couldn't make him speed up his process to where he's making mistakes. He was playing at his pace. Now he looks rushed. He looks like his footwork isn't right. And when he throws a football, he's a former baseball guy. Those guys with that arm talent, the Patrick Mahomes of the world, those guys always have their feet right, no matter what situation they're in. Russ doesn't seem comfortable. That's why I'm wondering, is he injured? Is he maybe hiding something? Is it a shoulder? Is it an elbow? What is it? You see what I'm saying?
But you know what, Dave? I'm gonna put more of the blame. I think he's healthy.
Okay.
But we got these new age coordinator turned head coaches that were supposed to be geniuses, and then when they're the one calling the plays and it's up to them, they haven't produced. I don't know what like Tony said, Russell Wilson is not running what he ran in Seattle. He's running, was it Nathan Hackett's style. That's Green Bay. That's something built. This is an Aaron Rodgers type of offense. This is not Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is not your classic drop back passer like Aaron Rodgers is. So why didn't they take the philosophy from something from Seattle? But guess what? All these young, innovative head coaches want to get out here and prove that they can outsmart the game of football. When I've said it, it's very simple. Run the ball and stop the run, and you got a very good chance of winning. And right now, Russell Wilson, does he look panicked? Yes. And I think that's the offensive
He's
philosophy
rushed.
from Hackett.
Yeah. Well, Tony, Devin Mason comes on our show all the time, quarterback guru extraordinaire, and he always says you have to marry your system to your quarterback skill. Okay? Is that what Denver is not doing right now? Is that why they're not having success?
Yeah, they're not. they're not taking what he does well and implementing it and covering up his weaknesses. What Jody just said is right. You can't take Aaron Rodgers' system and expect, Russell Wilson to flourish in that. But also, guys, let's understand something. They have not been around long enough to get this time in them. That comes from live bullets, and it's
Hmm.
going to come. I remind everyone, 2 years ago, Tom Brady did not catch up to the system in Tampa until right around Thanksgiving time. And remember, the coach even came out and criticized Tom Brady for not catching up. So be mindful. If Tom Brady wasn't doing it the right way, then anybody else is fair game too.
But Dave, Russell Wilson's been sacked 12 times.
That's
He's
why
been
he wanted
sacked.
it. He's holding on to the football. He's holding on to
It's
that football.
none of these guys are getting open. Like you got all this speed. You got your Judys of the world, and you got your Cortland Suttons of the world, guys that have been playing quote unquote at a high level, and they can't get open. He's been sacked 12 times. He's only completing 61% of his passes. Why? Because when Russell Wilson normally has a good tight end or he has that good running back to dump the ball off to, he doesn't have that right now. He doesn't, because you got to look.
Hmm.
Williams is not a receiving running back, and Melvin Gordon can't hold. Melvin Gordon got 4 fumbles in 4 games. This is ugly football for them to be 2-2. Day for them to be 2-2 right now. They're blessed to only be 1 game out of first place, and
Very much
I
so. And
think it's because of Bradley Chubb right now on the defensive side of the ball.
let's talk about that defense. That defense is playing lights out, guys. They're balling, and they're on the field a lot. Okay.
Are they number one in the NFL, Jody,
No,
in points per
No.
game?
no, it's the 49ers only give up 11.5, which is number 1 in the league, but Denver is number 2 in points allowed.
I think Dallas might be number 3. They're like 3 or
No,
4, something like that.
hold on, give me a second.
Dallas is 3 at 12.5. Or what they 15.5? I forget what it
It
is.
might be 15.5, Tony.
Uh,
They're up
they
there.
haven't.
Look,
San
if they
Francisco
finish,
is 3 because they haven't allowed. San Francisco and Dallas are the only 2 teams that haven't allowed 20 points.
San Francisco, the way that they play defense, the way they play, they remind me of an old NFC East team. That's what they remind me of. They're very physical up front, buddy. They're gonna beat you up.
Very physical.
Very physical and strong and fast. They
Yeah,
you
and
can't they you here's the thing I like about them, Tony. You get a body on them, you can't keep them blocked. You see what I'm saying?
yeah, San Francisco plays it well, and their
Good
defense
hands.
coordinator.
Good
Their
hands.
defense coordinator. If he doesn't have a head coaching job next year, something is wrong.
Yeah, they're very talented. Physical, fast, and they tackle pretty well.
Yeah, something is wrong. I
Yeah.
like the way Tim. Now we haven't been on since what was that game? Monday night, right?
Right.
Hmm.
So this is the first time talking about it. Styles make fights. You hear me say it all the time. The Rams cannot beat the 49ers. I don't
Not
care if
well,
TD
not in
Ricard
a
was
big game,
quarterbacking.
but they
They
can beat
can't
them in
beat
a
them.
big game.
They beat them in the big game because the boy dropped the interception.
Right.
Let's be
Hey,
honest.
I know they had them
They
beat.
cannot.
Tony, I'm
They
not lying.
cannot
I'm
beat them.
not. I'm not discounting what you said. They had them beat, but they didn't. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
At some point, you get where the 49ers are, right? The 49ers are one bad pass away from winning a Super Bowl. Jimmy G puts that ball on that kid. That's a touchdown, and
Twice.
huh?
He had 2 throws.
Yeah, 2. Yeah, 2.
He had
Right.
2 of them in that game. The
It's
one
like
of them
when
he
I,
was pressured. One
I
of them he was pressured. The other
right.
one he
The
wasn't.
other one, he had a clean pocket.
Clean pocket
You
and
you
missed.
supposed to, and the receiver had plenty of separation. You're supposed to put the ball on that dude.
But you know what, Dave? We talk about Matthew Stafford, and Tony said Styles make fights. Matthew Stafford in 24 games with the Los Angeles Rams he played 24 games. He has 26 interceptions, which is the most in the NFL. during that time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
So
I don't look. Uh, it,
A
it's
lot.
it's a lot. And here's what I would say about the Rams. In certain quarters, in certain areas, they are a finesse team. Okay, they are not as
Whole lot of
physical.
areas.
They're not as physical as a San Francisco. Not as physical at all. So
A little
you look
Bobby
at the
Warner.
next game that you look at the next game that the Rams have coming up. They just played a top defense in San Francisco. Their next game up is the Cowboys. This is a big test for the Cowboys defense. Okay, this is a test for the Cowboys defense to see if they can put back good defensive performances up. Okay, if Dallas is able to hold, say for example, the Rams to 2 touchdowns or less, this is a pretty damn good defense. The Rams right now are missing one thing. They can't keep the top off of any coverage. Okay, they
None.
don't have the speed to get down there. They're going to feed the ball to Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp might catch 20 balls against Dallas, but the question is, can they put up 40 points? Can they put up 30 points? If they put up 21 to 24 points against Dallas, they might be able to beat them. But if they
they
put
won't.
up less than that, if they put up 14 points, they could be in trouble. They
Now,
could be in
now,
trouble.
now, Dave, mind you, I'm not a Cowboy fan by no stretch of the
Neither am I.
imagination, Tony.
I'm just
So
going
I'm
by the
coming.
I'm going by the facts.
The facts, what you said, Dave, are you correct? Because Cooper Kupp is the extension of their running game because they have absolutely no running game. So they do a lot of short passes. And I talked in the production meeting early on, off camera with Tony. We talked about Allen Robertson.
Jesse
He has
Jr.
nine. He has 9 catches in 4 games, 1 touchdown. He
He has
signed
one
in
more
three.
touchdown than a dead man.
Right. I almost got as many touchdowns as him, and I ain't played a game. He signed a three. he signed a 3-year, $46 million deal. He can't,
Woo!
Dave. He can't get open. Allen Robinson can't get open.
Who
Allen
is his
Robinson was
agent?
supposed. He's supposed to be an upgrade from Robert Woods. He's supposed to be an upgrade from Odell Beckham. He's not. So,
They need Odell Beckham. Beckham needs to get healthy bad.
and I really believe that the Dallas Cowboys, with the way that they rush their passers,
Thank you.
knowing that they can't run the football, and I'm gonna tell you, an unsung hero on that Dallas defense is Dante Fowler, guys. Dante Fowler, he's always been a disciple for Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn always find him on the scrap heap, bring him in, dust him off, and his numbers are not gonna be gaudy. His numbers not gonna be gaudy. But Dante Fowler at the end of the year is gonna be one of them guys with like 3.5 sacks. But look how many hurries he's gonna have. Look how many tackles for loss he's gonna have because he's a disruptor. He's a situational player. And
Mhm.
that's a guy, him and Anthony Barr, the 4-time Pro Bowler. Quinn knows how to get those linebackers to play at an elite level. And
Mhm.
and this is crazy. I'm saying this, Dave. The emergence of Trayvon Diggs, and you like what? He was All Pro last year because he's learning how to play defensive back.
Mhm.
He's not gonna get a lot of interceptions because now his technique is better. He's not a feast or fanning guy. He's gonna be a guy that's actually shutting down receivers from Jamar Chase. He gave Jamar Chase all he was looking for. So I'm not a Dallas fan, Tony. Don't even think that I am. Don't think we on the Tony. We're not even looking. We're not even right here. But as a NFL analyst, Dallas has the formula and the makeup to beat the Los Angeles Rams this weekend.
What do you think about that, Tony? What do you think about Diggs' emergence? What do you think about the odyssey that has been Trevon Diggs? Because Trevon Diggs we have a special relationship with him because he's one of our crab bowl guys. He's a local guy, and his story is so interesting because Stephon, Big Bro, had all the love, and Trayvon came up behind that, and goes to Alabama,
I'm on the start.
converts to wide receiver, converts to corner.
Oh,
And
different.
I think at the end of the day, Jody, when Trayvon Diggs signs his next deal, however much it is, but it's going to be a mega deal,
Right.
Money line.
uh,
No, I'm on
Nick
I do a
Saban needs to
podcast.
get a cut because moving him to corner
Say hello.
made that young man some money. We're doing great.
But Nick Saban, you're absolutely right, Dave. Nick Saban knew what was best for him. Everybody wants the glitz and glamour of the wide receiver position, but Diggs, if you watch him, I wish we had some film. I wish Cody was on here to show us some film. If you watch him, the way he went against Terry McLaurin, he basically erased him from the game.
Did you see the post corner that he ran? Terry McLaurin, in a goal line situation, red zone situation, ran a post corner route. And Diggs might have run the route better than Terry did.
And that goes back to him. He's his lineage of being a wide receiver. But if you go back and look at Diggs this year from last year, I think Diggs would have tried to play and play possum to try to get him to throw it so he can get the interception. Mm-hmm. Now he's actually and I don't want to say he's Darrelle Revis, Tony, but he's starting to use the technique of a Darrelle Revis. It looked like he's been watching a lot of film because Darrelle Revis really was a guy that didn't get a lot of interceptions, but you couldn't catch the ball on him.
Darrelle was much stronger up top. He was more physical. And I think that's the only thing that I think about Diggs that needs to improve, which it will. Yeah. Just needs to get a little bigger up top and a little more physical and be ready to go hands off at 5 yards. But get physical up, early. Get physical at the, at the bottom of the route.
We got to give Jody some credit here. He called that Pittsburgh quarterback change.
Ooh. Let's segue into that. Changing of the guard in Pittsburgh. This is big. This is really big. Not because of what happened. And hey, we're sorry that Mitch Trubisky, it didn't work out. But Mitch had to know that this could be a short trip. Okay. The emergence of Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett will get his first start this weekend, this Sunday. What do we think about that? Jody, you called it, so you go ahead and analyze that.
You know what, Dave? It's not as if Kenny Pickett outplayed Trubisky. Let's make no mistake. It wasn't like Kenny Pickett, his first pass was an interception. So it wasn't as if he came in and it was just like he's a world beater. But I think Mike Tomlin, being who he is, understands that this team needs a spark before he end up 1-5 and 1-6. He can't afford that in this division because once again, Cleveland will be getting Deshaun Watson back in now, T-7 games. You got Lamar Jackson, who's playing the MVP, and Joe Burrow, Joe Breezy, he's heating up. That boy, remember NBA
he's
Jam?
Heating up. You're right.
He's heating up. So he's too smart of a coach to be like, all right, I'm gonna keep rolling with this guy that can't score on kindergarten. So it's not that Kenny Pickett is that much better of a quarterback. I just knew when you take a quarterback in the first round, you have to play him at this day and age. There's no more sitting like Carson Palmer did when he was drafted by the Bengals. There's no more sitting. It's almost like you better be ready to go because these offenses in college are more complex and they're more NFL ready. So Kenny Pickett, to be honest, don't be surprised if Kenny Pickett comes in and struggle and they still go 1-5. But now it's no looking back, Tony. There's no looking back with him. You understand? You can't take him out, put Trubisky back in unless it's an injury. It can't be due to performance because if you sit Kenny Pickett, you just wasted that first round draft pick. But the reason why I called it is because of the simple fact that Mitch Trubisky is not a starting quarterback in this league.
And, they've done everything they could do to get him into this point as far as his time with the Bears. He knew that he really only had a very short trip, a short shot to maybe make a home for himself, and it just didn't work out. Now, that said, he's going to have to keep himself ready. Rookie quarterbacks tend to get into the game, get in games, and get hurt. That's just what they do. So I don't think that Kenny Pickett is going to be the type of guy that's physically going to be able to handle the spot. He will get injured. He's going to tweak a knee or tweak an ankle, try to throw and hit somebody in the helmet and his hand is going to hurt. He can have to come out. But, until the Steelers can get themselves right on that offensive line, to really get that offense going to where they can run the football effectively and then mix in the pass. You know what I'm saying? To where, hey, we're going to run this ball 60% of the time, and you're not going to be able to stop us. And we're going to mix in throwing. We're going to mix in the pass on running downs. You see what I'm saying? You're expecting me to run on first down because that's my power. I'm going to be able to throw on first down because I know I can run for it on second and third.
Well, I'm gonna
Tony,
go ahead and real quick. I'm gonna throw this at you, Dave and Tony. The Pittsburgh Steelers only on offense only averaged 278.8 yards per game. Who are you beating?
total offense. Total
Total
offense.
offense. Tony, who are you going to beat when you can't move the ball? You average 18.5 points per game. And let me throw this at you guys. No receiver on the Pittsburgh Steelers have a touchdown yet.
In a
Yeah, that's
passing
a
league.
problem.
In a passing league.
Hey, Jody, but in the big picture, this also saves Tomlin, gives Tomlin a big time excuse. When you got a rookie quarterback, you can afford to lose games. They don't care about the season like that. When you come in with that, i.e., some other team in the NFC East needs to be looking at this because once the season goes south, you got to get something out of that season, man.
Yeah.
And out of that season is some experience that may help you with your roster for next year. So, you
But
know,
we know that Tomlin is a guy that needs patience because he hasn't had a losing season. So there's definitely no panic button being pushed in Pittsburgh. But when you have all these receivers where you just paid Deontay Johnson and you got Claypool talking like he's the real deal, and you got George Pickens, he's supposed to be this guy, which I didn't know that was Carl Pickens' son. I really didn't know that until I looked it up. That's Carl Pickens' son.
wow.
I can tell to me, it's obvious in the way that he plays football.
Mm-hmm.
Plays just in a lot of ways, he's just like his dad. Because you remember, Carl Pickens and Rod Woodson, they used to get after it, buddy.
Oh yeah.
They used to get after it. Them two dudes, I mean, they get after it.
But when your starting quarterback only has 2 touchdown passes and one of them to a running back and the other one to a tight end, how are you going to win many football games? We in week 4.
Not many.
Not many. Not
So
many.
Pittsburgh has a long way to go. It's not, you know what I'm saying? It's not just the Kenny Pickett situation. TJ Watt, yes, I understand TJ Watt is major that TJ Watt's not in lineup. I get it. He's the defense player of the year. But to be to a point offensively where you can't get at least 300 yards total offense, your leading rusher is Najee Harris with only 202 yards rushing.
Yep,
That's 50 yards per game.
that's anemic. No, that's anemic. But it's they're rebuilding that offensive line, trying to retool that offense, and they're trying to do it on the fly. So what Pittsburgh isn't going to do is just the way their organization is set up. And again, we're talking about one of the best organizations in all of pro sports in terms of their results, their longevity, and their stability. Okay. They're not going to do anything crazy or stupid. Okay. They're not going to go for the flash in the pan. Tony calls it sometimes and say, hey, ham and cheese. Listen, ham and cheese will fill your stomach up when you're hungry. And that's what they do in Pittsburgh. It's going to be methodical. It's going to be brick by brick. That's how they do things in Pittsburgh. And you know what? That's why they don't fire coaches every 3 years. Okay. I mean, and I can say Washington does it. Dallas
Cleveland,
does it. I
Cleveland.
mean, I could go down a list of a lot of franchises that move coaches
How
in and
bad they
out, and
run.
then continue to expect this. They expect better results. Now, you've heard this before. You guys are all college men. We understand this. What's the definition of stupidity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a
Expecting
different
a different
result.
result.
This is exactly what the Washington franchise and for many years the Dallas franchise have done. And I don't mean to beat on those guys. They're just the most egregious examples.
I mean,
Okay.
you got Cleveland, you got Detroit. When you look at the bottom tier teams, you see a influx in coaches. The Raider organization since Gruden left. They've been turnover prone at the coaching position. The Cincinnati Bengals, you know what I'm saying? But if you look at the elite organizations, Tony, when you look at your New England Patriots, your Pittsburgh Steelers, your Green Bay Packers, your those teams, Kansas City Chiefs. When you look at teams that have won, even New Orleans with Sean Payton, he had to step down. He wasn't fired; he stepped down. So you're looking at organizations that's well ran, and you look at their playoff record. What else? What did Dave or Tony? What do all those teams have in common? What did they have in common? They had quarterbacks.
Well, we talk about the quarterback, right? What do you have to have aside from the quarterback? You've got to have the coach, the quarterback, the GM, and the owner. All of those guys have to be in line together. They all have to be on the same page. You can't have the quarterback and the coach on the same page, but the GM is over here, the owner is over here. That won't work. You need the owner to set a clear path to success and to allow his GM to do the job, which is give the players to the coach. And then the coach's job is to coach the players and the quarterback with the talent level that he's been given. Now, your coach has to be able to have a lot of input onto who his quarterback is and what the team culture, what the culture is. That's got to come from ownership, okay? Again, I don't mean to bang on Washington, all right? That's their problem. It's ownership. Ownership is the problem in Washington. And they don't have a GM per se. Their GM is their coach. So you see there's this big gap in between ownership and the coach. The coach is the one making GM's type decisions, okay? And then he's deciding who the quarterback is and who the quarterback is going to be coming in that he'll be working with. That ain't how it works. Here's what I'll say is this, and I'll jump off of this. If you're not Bill Parcells, if you're not Mike Holmgren, if you're not Bill Walsh, if you're not Jimmy Johnson, okay, you don't have any business making personnel decisions as a coach. Okay, Andy Reid, he should be allowed to make those types of decisions or have final say on something, okay?
Mike Tomlin.
But everybody else, you got to have a boss. Do it the way it works. In Pittsburgh, the owner hires a GM. The GM hires the coach. Now, they've had different GMs in there. The GM just stepped down. But he's already got a coach that's won a Super Bowl, that has been there for many, many years and has been successful. So nothing is going to change right away. A lot of GMs come in and want to change the trajectory of the team and put their handprints on it or make it in their team. Okay, that's great, as long as it works.
But you know what, Dave? This is one thing, and it's going to be a bold prediction, maybe not that bold, but Mike Tomlin will have his first losing season this year.
I don't want to see that happen to him, but you know what? This is pro football. Even Bill Belichick can have a losing season. It happened. Okay?
Don't get me started on Bill Belichick.
Oh Lord! You know what?
Don't get me
I'm gonna be nice to Bill Belichick today because his quarterback hurt. His quarterback is hurt. Mac Jones has been injured, so
he on his third quarterback.
He's 72 and 82 in regular season games without Tom Brady. I'm done.
Well, Tom Brady got other things to worry about right now, Jody.
Hey,
ain't worried about no damn
Dave, you wrong. You wrong.
What?
You wrong.
Hey, listen. Hey, look. If Tom Brady show up at the red carpet with Halle Berry, I'm gonna whoop his ass. That's all I'm saying. I'm gonna put the pause on it, Tony.
Hey, as long as
y'all heard it here first.
Hey, as long as Antonio Brown don't show up with Giselle, then I'm good. Okay. I'm sorry.
Wow, y'all going.
We at the TD report. We at the TD report. Do not condone. Just kidding. We got to put
y'all low blows tonight, man.
Put a disclaimer across the bottom of the screen. Yeah.
Y'all low blows tonight.
Hey. The opinions expressed on the TD report do not reflect.
They do reflect.
No, I ain't touching that one. I ain't touching that Antonio Brown stuff. Look, your boy Antonio Brown, He really needs to have his head handled. He needs to get looked at. He needs to check up from the neck up. Something wrong with that boy.
You know what, Dave? Though, is it really that or is he playing a character that's going to make him iconic as his career is over? Like, is he trying to play a role? Is he trying to be the Dennis Rodman of football, where Dennis Rodman has been relevant even though he's been well retired for over 15 to 20 years? Is he trying to be that guy?
Jody, you cannot pull your penis out in a Muslim country. You can't do that.
Dennis Rodman did it too.
They cut those things off in Muslim countries. Hey, kids, don't do this. Don't be going to Abu Dhabi and pulling your thing out. I'm telling you, it's dangerous. They will cut your thing off, dog.
But you see what I'm saying?
They'll put you in jail for 50 years, and then they'll deport you.
But Dave, have we noticed that Antonio Brown has always been an attention seeker? So is he trying to be relevant because his football career is completely over? Look at the things.
His football career, as you said, is 100% over. He will never play football again.
Well, we knew that when he took his shoulder pads off in the middle of the game. Like, come on, man. We knew that then. But
honestly, that was one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen at a pro football game. That was bizarre.
But look what Tony, look at what he's doing. He's trying to be a social media or a reality star because now people want to see foolishness. So he's going to, and Antonio Brown, ego will not allow him to just go off and not be seen or heard from. His ego won't allow
himself out of Canton. He's going to talk himself out of Canton.
He's never gonna. He's not a Hall of Famer, Tony.
On the field, he was.
Do you understand how sports writers are? The sports writers won't let Art Monk into the Hall of Fame. They didn't want to let him in for years. You think they're going to let Antonio Brown in? No way.
Oh, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. But you see what I'm saying, Dave? He wants to be relevant.
Jody,
he wants to be relevant.
You've literally hit everything on the head today. If I could give you a gold star, I would. Gold star for Jody. But listen, this dude has been doing outlandish stuff for the better part of 10 years. I mean, it's ridiculous. And look, I love to have a good time, y'all. Trust me. I love to do foolish stuff. But this stuff, this shit right here, he's bugging.
But this the wildest thing I feel like Antonio Brown did isn't what he did, because I think his antics are, like I said, he's trying to be the Dennis Rodman. What I didn't like about Antonio Brown is his last year with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Juju Smith-Schuster was that emerging receiver, and he won the team MVP, and he got into it and was upset because he didn't get it. That right there really made me not an Antonio Brown fan. Is he a talent? Absolutely. But how you gonna do that to that young receiver? They have maybe the best receiver core in the league at the time.
They did.
You guys.
They did.
Basically crushed. Juju Smith-Schuster has not been the same receiver since that season.
And don't forget, they also had Le'Veon Bell for a lot of Antonio Brown's career. And look what he did to his career. It's the disease of ego, folks. Listen, high school stars, college guys, you get to the pros, it's a business, okay? It's not about the showbiz side. It's not about the flash. The flash is what we sell to people like us. You can sell that to me. I'll buy it. I'll buy a jersey. I'll buy tickets. I'll buy the liquor, overpriced beer, all of that stuff. But if you are a player, you are no different than me going to the office to do an audit. That's what I do. I have a briefcase. I have on a little shirt and a sweater and a calculator. And I come to work every day. 5 o'clock, I'm out of there. You literally have to punch a clock in the NFL, whether it's taking care of your body, whether it's getting extra treatment, whether it's getting extra work and getting in extra reps. Hello.
That's GM. That's one of the managers.
Is this the new GM?
No, tell me the manager.
Hey, what happened to Corey? Tony. Hey, Tony.
Yeah.
Tony.
Hey,
What happened to our boy Corey?
He said what happened to Corey. Corey went to another job. Right?
Oh, he left. Oh, okay.
He got long. Yeah.
Gotcha. Hey, Tony.
I know. It's been a while. Yeah.
Tony. So let's lead them in. So let's lead them into our Thursday night game tonight. Jody, you had it as a 17-13 game. You like
Denver. I like Denver.
Tony.
Yeah. I got it.
Tony, who you got?
20-17 game.
2017.
Yep.
Honestly, I think we're gonna see something ugly tonight. I think it's gonna be a 12-10 game. There's gonna be either gonna be 4 field goals or a touchdown, a safety, and a field goal. Somebody's gonna have 12 tonight.
Dave, I think that the NFL so far offensively owe the fans an apology. Outside now, listen. Now hear me out. Now, outside of this is the most surprising stat in the red zone. The Tennessee Titans are 90% in the red zone. Guess who's second?
Who?
The Detroit Lions at 81% in the red zone.
They might be the only team that scored a touchdown in every game. I think they have.
So when you look at that, and then you go to the bottom tier teams, these are two of the lowest percentage in the red zone teams to equal up with both teams having really good defenses. And for the Indianapolis Colts, they have not even played. Leonard hasn't even played yet, and he won't play for a while. And they're still one of the. Make no mistake, the Indianapolis Colts are pretty good defensively. You've seen what they did against Kansas City.
They did a great job.
But Patrick Surtain, I think I said on the TD report early in the year, I told y'all Patrick Surtain in 2 years will be the best corner in football, and I'm going to stand by it.
Hey, watch out for my boy from UVA at tight end. Watch out for that guy. Woods,
yeah.
That's big tight end from Virginia. Had the game winner
against Oklahoma State.
Yep, he transferred. Get this, Jody. When he was at Oklahoma State, they wouldn't throw him the football. Went to the ACC for 2 years, tore it up, and caught the game winner against the Kansas City Chiefs. That kid has a chance to be very, very good. If he can get after, when Ryan retires, if they can get a good quarterback in there to pair up with him, I think he has a chance to be a good.
We got to kick off coming, fellas.
But before we go, Indianapolis will be on their 7th quarterback in 8 years after this season. Bold prediction.
They're going to be on their 8th. Trust me. Tony, what's your big thing before we walk out of here?
I think the Giants are going to beat Green Bay in London. 9:30 a.m. game. Remember, folks, 9:30 a.m. Sunday.
Bangers and mash.
Was upset.
Okay.
Daniel Jones. I don't think Daniel Jones playing, but okay.
Tyrod Taylor's going to get the start.
Yeah, I know he's out too.
Oh, he's out too? Who's quarterbacking?
Yeah. Me and you. TD report.
Hey, I'm a hand. Hey, guess what? Where's Saquon at? Let's give him the football. That's what I'm gonna do, and get the hell up out the way. Thanks a lot.
It was already a drop in the Colts game. Somebody already dropped the ball. It's gonna be a long night. It's gonna be a long night.
Hey guys, get you a picture of here. Try to enjoy this. Thanks, Jody. Thanks, Tony. Great show, guys.
Monday night.
Monday night.